Hey guys, Veritas Files here. Uh, I feel like I need to address the controversy. I mean, to the extent that it's a controversy, ever since silver went up in price, um, either people have discovered that they don't really understand the metals that they're buying, or they have started to lose the strength of their own convictions. Oddly, because the price went up, which you wouldn't expect that would be the case, but that has been the case. And the controversy has been surrounding uh, 90% or anything other than bullion. And I'm thinking about the first person that I noticed was Sober Stacker. He has since uh, started to change course and is figuring stuff out. So that's awesome. And he's had the humility to admit that and like I said, change course. Thinking of Fish, who's still kind of hung up on this a little bit. And there's others, but they've been a little less vocal. They've just voiced concerns. But it's about the fact that you have these unique market conditions that are quite rare, and they're lasting for a significant period of time, or at least that's the way it feels. Now, it's not a significant period of time if you take into account the entire history of silver. It's no time at all. But from their perspective, they've only been stacking, 2 years, 3 years, 10 years, whatever, and here we are, 6 months later, and things are not changing. Um, we're having to sell back of spot. Oh no. And people are, to my mind, they seem like they're getting upset about it and taking it personally. And I don't understand that. I don't get that. And part of that is because I'm coming at this from a probably uh, vastly different perspective than they are, because it's becoming clear to me that they either look at it entirely differently or they don't understand what they are buying. I think in part they just look at it totally differently. For example, some see the buying of silver as an investment. It is not an investment. Now, and I've made this point with the Kansas Kid and others, having said that it's not an investment, it can be used as an investment and it can be easily mistaken for an investment, especially during these times of repricing and transition from the death of an empire and its currency to the rocking back to the risk off financial situation that is increasingly preferred by the world. During that time, things like silver and gold and even other things like platinum can look like, and platinum is, but because it's a speculative commodity, but in any case, uh, silver and gold are money. They are not investments. Again, they can be used that way, I think, erroneously and mistakenly, and they can be easily mistaken for that, especially during these times. But what they are is money. Money is a store of value, a medium of exchange, you know, a standard of deferred payment. There's a variety, there's I think 15 or 17 different functions and properties of money. But the basic way that it operates is real money operates as real money in sound money environments, and in unsound money environments, it operates as monetary wealth insurance. I've been insanely abundantly clear about this for well over a decade. I'm on record on YouTube as early as 2011 saying these very same things. I don't recall ever having indicated anything differently than this. But it is not an investment. Investment can be meant in a couple of different senses. If you only mean that it is a place to park or put wealth or purchasing power for the purpose of long-term wealth preservation, then it is an investment. But that's not the way people typically talk about investments. Most of the time, I would say 90+% of the time, when they use the word investment, they are talking about something where you deploy money in the expectation of some short to medium term material return on your money deployed. Okay? Now, if you're looking at silver and gold that way, it is not that. It is money. It is the first definition, not the second. If you equivocate, then you're just super confused. Okay? In other words, if you're using both definitions, but both definitions as if they are synonymous, you're confused and you're going to confuse everybody else that you're talking about. I don't talk about it as an investment typically because it is confusing, because most people mean that they should be getting some kind of material return. You're not getting a material return. What you are getting when you, especially when you buy something like 90%, but any silver or gold that you buy, even if it's bullion, what you are getting is a wealth preservation tool, something that will preserve purchasing power over time. The only thing that it need do is preserve for you more purchasing power than the person standing next to you that does not have it. That's the whole point. That's the whole point, the whole goal. Now, yes, will you profit from this if you're holding it long term? Yes. In 30 to 50 year or more time frames, yes, you're generally speaking, you're going to profit. You're not just going to, especially during periods of transition, because it will reprice to a degree. But by and large, it is the standard by which other things are measured. It is not gold and silver getting cheaper. It is the dollar getting debased. It is not cars getting more expensive. It is the dollar decreasing in value. At that same time, your gold and silver are rising. So things priced in gold and silver are likely getting cheaper. You can buy more gas with the same amount of silver. You can buy a better car with the same amount of silver or gold, so forth and so on. But there's a lot of talk about liquidity and things of that nature. Liquidity is super important, but it is not the only thing. And again, I can still sell my 90%. I don't know about you. Even at the coin shop that I typically go to, which is buying way back a spot, I'm still up a lot over stuff I was buying years ago. Way up. So I can sell it to them if I want to for well under spot. That's not illiquid. I can sell it anyway. I even have one coin shop where I can basically sell it for spot because he's still buying according to old prices from a year ago. I mean, in terms of spot price, he's like maybe $1 under spot. He can't even sell it for that, but he's buying it for that. So it just depends on where you are. But it's not illiquid. It's just not paying out the way that you would like. But that's not what it's designed for. It's not designed to pay you out and profit. It's money. It's supposed to merely preserve your purchasing power. And if you've been buying for a long time and you haven't had purchasing power preserved by the price spike, even though you're selling back a spot, then I don't know. I don't know what you purchased or where you purchased it or for what price, because I'm doing fine. There's almost nothing I've bought that I'm not up on by either nearly 100% or well over 100%. There's virtually nothing I've bought. Some of the stuff I'm up on several hundred, like 500%. I bought Morgan dollars for $11. I can sell them now for 6 times that, 5 times that, whatever. I'm up several times. So if you're upset because it's not doing what a piece of bullion might do for you in this unique market condition, it's because you don't understand what you're buying, or you have expectations that are not in line with what you're buying, again, which is tied to your lack of understanding. If you understand that this is money, that it is meant for wealth preservation, it's not actually meant to be an investment in the same way an ETF or a stock or something like that would be, then you're going to have expectations that are in line with what it should be doing, in which case you're sitting pretty and you're not bothered at all by the fact that if you sell it right now, you're selling it back of spot. That doesn't bother me at all. I'm not at all concerned by that. Why? Because I'm up massively based on what I bought, and it's only supposed to preserve wealth for me. This is not something that I am flipping or trading in and out of to try to make money. The way I build wealth is merely to save in this monetary wealth insurance. That's it. Okay, this is not a stock. This is not an investment. And if you're going around with erroneous notions about what this is and what you're doing, and your expectations of gold and silver are the same kind of expectations you might have for a stock or something else that you've given yourself exposure to in the market, you're just mistaken. Okay? So there shouldn't be any controversy here. Sober Stacker is figuring that out. He's doing the math. He's figuring that out. He's developing expectations that are in line with what the reality of the thing is. What is the reality of silver and gold? My expectations have to be in line with that. If they're not, I'm going to get all upset because there's a difference in the price for the silver out of a 90% and the silver out of bullion. Oh my goodness. That is not a big deal. It's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. It's a good buy. Have I ever argued as I don't recall anybody ever arguing this, but I don't recall ever saying that anyone should ever only buy 90%. That's crazy to me. I think you should buy a wide variety of silver and gold, especially in terms of sizes. I really don't do anything above 1 ounce in silver, and I go fractional. I don't even do 1 ounce in gold. I only buy fractional gold. But thanks to Fish, I have decided to dabble in platinum. So now I have a couple pieces of platinum. Now for me, that's a speculation. It's something that's going to hold value, I hope, but it's a speculation for me. That's not money in my case. But I'm still not concerned because, again, I'm not looking at any of this really as an investment. This is all just insurance for me. And gold and silver are by nature money. They're just wealth insurance in this context. But if you're looking at it in a different way, guys, you're just making a mistake, okay? And if you want people to apologize for some kind of phantom belief that you think they have had, such as 90% is the only thing you should buy or it's the best thing you'll ever have, nobody's going to do that because I don't think anybody really believes that. Now, I happen to think that long-term, 90% will be one of the better things you can have. I think it'll have some of the most utility. But that's because of how I see the future going. Now, I could be wrong about that, and that's okay with me. In fact, I'd prefer to be wrong. But that's beside the point. I think you should buy a wide variety of things, and I think you should have an appropriate understanding of what it is you're buying. If you don't buy because you're going to be disappointed. Don't go out and buy 90% and then come back and complain if you don't understand what you have, okay? Because that is the problem. That's the cause of the controversy. The problem is not in the money. The problem is in the circumstances that change surrounding the money. Those circumstances can change in the future. If we ever have a currency crisis and we have credit seize up, if you think that you're automatically going to have liquidity, even in bullion, you may be sorely mistaken. Now, I can't tell you for sure. But any of these things, gold, silver, anything else can become illiquid depending on circumstances. If they pass laws because we're in some kind of global conflict where nobody other than big tech and the military can own silver, and they want you to turn it all in, and if you don't turn it in, all the kind of stuff that they've done in the past. If that were to happen again, I'm not saying that's likely. I'm just saying if it were to happen again, guess what would not be liquid? Yeah, it's your metals, right? It would be a temporary condition, I'm sure, but nonetheless, that's what would happen. Circumstances are what change. Circumstances are what matter. Circumstances are what fails us. The money does not. Money is just money. It is described. It is not defined. It is discovered. It is not invented by human beings. Money is not a convention. It has a nature or essence. It is here, just like the moral law, just like the laws of logic and physics. It is here, and it is a natural product of God's design and creation. Pure and simple. Anyway, guys, I hope this has brought some kind of clarity because people are so confused and they're getting all hot and bothered about this nonsense, and it's not that big of a deal. Okay? Appreciate it. Thanks.